I think AJ Green could go to the Patriots. I think it's definitely possible. I think we know what he can do, and I think the Patriots, I think we saw against the Chiefs that they going against a good AFC team like the Chiefs and the Ravens. They need an outside wide receiver, and N'Keal Harry. He needs some time, another year or two, and that's when he can become the star that we need. But I think maybe adding that AJ Green, that veteran type of experience, adding him to the game, and I think the Patriots have to take a risk if they want to win with Cam, and I think Cam would love him, to be honest about it. I think another possible trade could be Sammy Watkins. He could go to Green Bay Packers before the NFL trade deadline. And I think the Chiefs, they really don't need Sammy Watkins. I mean, he's the number 2 wide receiver on the team. Number 3 in like catching yards and all that type of stuff because Travis Kelce's ahead of them. And maybe want these young guys like Demarcus Robinson and McCole Hardman to get some more stuff than having Sammy Watkins. And I think Packers would like him too to complement Devontae Adams. I think Watkins would definitely fit into the system. At least number 2 wide receiver that you can get out of Sammy Watkins. So I think this trade could happen just how the Emmanuel Sanders trade came last year, where the Broncos they were rebuilding though. They were trying to rebuild their wide receiving core. They were fine with Cortland Sutton, so they decided to trade Emmanuel Sanders away. So the 49ers needed help. So I think they can add this guy to complement Devontae Adams. We know they have Marquez Valdez-Scantling, but if Aaron Rodgers wants to win the Super Bowl, you got to give him all the weapons. And I think Sammy Watkins can be one of them. Another possible trade is the Browns could trade away David Njoku to the Carolina Panthers. I think this is actually a pretty good trade for both sides because the Browns, maybe they can get some more draft capital, maybe to add more weapons on their defense. Because you know the AFC nowadays, the Ravens, the Chiefs, they have a really high powered offense, and I think you need to add more weapons, and you have to beat the Ravens out in this division. That means you got to add more defensive players, and I think you could use that draft capital. I think maybe a 2nd and 4th round pick could be the answer for Njoku, because he is that type of tight end. Maybe a 3rd and 4th, 3rd and 5th, but I think that draft capital could help them out. Maybe some late round deals. They already have Austin Hooper on their team, and they also already have Harrison Bryant that they drafted this year. They have 3 really good tight ends. What's the need of having Njoku? I won't be surprised if Kevin Stefanski pulls the trigger right here. I think they need draft capital, but also you can get rid of David Njoku and have a much younger tight end out of Harrison Bryant be the number 2 tight end. And you can have Austin Hooper play that number 1 role, and if Hooper goes down, then you can have Harrison Bryant play the number 1 role. I think Njoku, we know he might get injured again too. That's a big injury, so I think it definitely makes sense that the Panthers should get this guy too, because they can have more weapons for Teddy B, and I think that's the whole point. They want to go to the Super Bowl and beat out the Buccaneers and Saints, so I think it won't be a problem trying to trade for David Njoku. I think another possible trade is Kenny Stills for J.C. Jackson and a pick from Houston too, because we know how much they need help on their wide receiving core, right? The New England Patriots, and then the Dolphins. The Texans. They need help on their defense a lot. They need, especially the corners. Their pass rush is pretty good, but their corners, they need a lot of help right there. And I think it makes sense why the Patriots would trade for this guy and trade away a young corner. And I think this will help out the Texans. And if the Patriots want to win a Super Bowl, they're going to have to make trades. They could trade for A.J. Green and Kenny Stills. And, I mean, they would lose a lot of draft capital, but I think they're going to trade for one of these guys. And I think they have way too many wide receivers. You don't need them. I think the Texans, I think Kenny Stills will get traded before the trade deadline. I think that's why it's possible that Stills for Jackson and a pick coming from Houston. I think this move this is a very Belichick type of move, trying to get weapons for his quarterback Cam Newton.